Welcome into PFF's 2-minute drill. Austin Gayle here with my two favorite people in the company, Kevin Cole and Mike Renner, ready to rip it up. It is game week, fellas. It is game week. NFL Week 1 is happening. It didn't feel like it for a while, but we are going to see the Kansas City Chiefs and Houston Texans play on Thursday and beyond. So let's start with this. Better news. Ryan Fitzpatrick named the starter in Miami. Is this the right move, Kev, for the Miami Dolphins right now after drafting Tua Tagovailoa?
I mean, I'm going to say no, but I'm not heavily against
Ooh.
it. I mean, the thing is, this reminds me a little bit of 2017, Deshaun Watson, Tom Savage. Obviously, Fitzpatrick is better than Savage. We'll see where Tua stands versus someone like Deshaun Watson. But just because things may not, go perfectly in camp, I know you want to be conservative. You want to start the veteran. The reality is, once they're out there and they need to win ball games, this could be a quick switch. I mean, if you look at the schedule, they're going to be playing at New England week 1. So I can see some reason for maybe holding off there. But even as soon as week 2 at home against the Bills, I think there's a higher chance that Tua is going to be in that game or potentially the following week against the Jaguars. I think this is a short move, but I would like to get him more reps earlier rather than let the veteran go out there, despite how much we love Fitzmagic.
See, I said it as soon as he was drafted by Miami. I would not play him a down as a rookie. He's going from one of the best offensive lines in college football over the course of his career. He did not have a single tackle pass protect for him that was not going to be a future first rounder. He had ridiculous talent there up front, ridiculous talent at the wide receiver position, obviously, for potential first round wide receivers that he was throwing to. It's going to be a rude awakening when he goes to Miami and has probably the worst offensive line in the NFL and a group of receivers that's nowhere near what he had at Alabama. I just think that big difference in both of those things is just going to speed the game up for him. You don't want to throw him to the wolves just yet, especially coming off a catastrophic injury like he is. I think you ease him in as much as humanly possible, fix that offensive line, and then you give him a shot, because throwing him to the wolves right now, I don't think it's going to give him any sort of confidence going forward.
How dare you, Kev? How dare you? Okay, Ryan Fitzpatrick. I like Ryan Fitzpatrick before it was cool to like Ryan Fitzpatrick, and I like this move mostly because of the points that Renner made, that you don't want to throw Tua Tagovailoa coming off a catastrophic injury to the Wolves right behind a bad offensive line. But the bigger reason, Ryan Fitzpatrick, does anyone know the 4th-ranked quarterback over the past 2 years in clean pocket PFF passing grade after Drew Brees, Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes? It's Ryan Fitzpatrick across 500-plus dropbacks. That's not small sample size season. Ryan Fitzpatrick gets the job done in ideal situations. He won't have a lot of them in South Beach, but I still like the move. Don't play Tua in South Beach just yet. Let's see Ryan Fitzpatrick rip it up.
Okay, guys. Well, when Fitzpatrick throws up one of his 4 INT games, which are a specialty, we will see halftime the Tua come into the game. Another big piece of news over the weekend: our long national nightmare is over. Jadeveon Clowney has signed with the team, and it is the team that we thought that he was probably going to sign with the whole ways, and that was the Tennessee Titans. It's a $12 million contract. The details are supposedly you can go up to 15. So I want to know from you, Mike, number one, what do you think of the impact of the signing with the Titans? And number two, is this a little bit less or more than you thought someone like Clowney would get?
I mean, it's obviously less than what he could have gotten. No one gets a good deal, 5 days before the season's about to start. He misplayed his hand drastically, unless his hand was just to skip training camp altogether. And then in that case, I guess he played his hand perfectly, but ridiculous on his part to have waited this long. I'm guessing Tennessee probably came to the table much earlier than this with a bigger offer and came down in time because, so he had to have at other points in time, at the beginning of free agency, have had bigger offers than this. I do think, though, Tennessee ultimately is the winner here. They made a mistake with the Vic Beasley signing. I think they realized that when he came into camp 10 days late or whatever happened with him there, and they get Jadeveon Clowney for a small price to pay for a quality edge rusher. Yes, he's not your typical bend the edge sort of guy. He is a versatile chess piece, though, and someone that they desperately needed across from Harold Landry. So I think this pushes the Tennessee Titans into realistic Super Bowl conversation. They were a team that was kind of on the precipice last season. I mean, they went to the AFC Championship game last season, and I think there's reason to believe with how young this roster is at certain key positions that they got a lot better over the course of the offseason.
The Titans were a good run defender away from being legitimate Super Bowl contenders. I'm excited for this. No, I think it was a good deal for the Tennessee Titans. It obviously improves that defense. I think Mike Vrabel is one of those defensive coordinators that's willing to get creative with his usages, which is where Jadeveon Clowney has played his best, when he's playing over guards, when he's rushing from different alignments. That's when you get plus production from Jadeveon Clowney, and it will allow them play other pass rushers, Jeffrey Simmons, Harold Landry, etc., in other roles as well, maybe get them more one-on-one opportunities than they would previously. I don't know if this pushes them into Super Bowl contention, but it definitely improves that team by a significant amount. And for the price they paid, I think it's a good move.
Yeah, I think there has been some kind of false equivalency going on comparing the Titans, who, let's face it, they kind of lucked into getting that far into it, versus someone like New Orleans Saints, who some people are saying, hey, they're about equivalent. They're about the same level teams as where they did last year. I think the Saints could have been a better option for them, but obviously they didn't have the money. Yeah, when it comes to Clowney, I mean, we saw that this offseason that Joey Bosa was signing a $27 million a year extension. We saw someone like Myles Garrett get $25 million a year. And now here's Clowney at less than half of that, at least on the base amount. So I think what's been revealed now in a couple of different locations is that the NFL views him as a limited player. And the fact that he even held out this long could also go into some of the motivation off the field type of narrative. So he really needs a big year this year. And hopefully he can do that and get that big payday finally after 2 years of playing on one-year deals.
So Jadeveon Clowney wasn't the only one signing over the course of the weekend. Deshaun Watson, the Houston Texans quarterback, signed a big money extension, $40 million a year, over 4 years, I believe. Austin, where are you taking Deshaun Watson if you're starting a franchise right now at the quarterback position? Throw the money out the window, just talent-wise. Who are you taking?
So you're obviously leading with Patrick Mahomes. I'd honestly go with Russell Wilson after Mahomes, but then I think I'm taking Deshaun Watson over Lamar Jackson. I think it's close, but I think Deshaun Watson is hands down a top 3, top 4 quarterback in the NFL right now, one you'd want to build your franchise around. I brought up that stat with Ryan Fitzpatrick, 4th ranked in clean pocket passing over the past 2 years. Deshaun Watson is 10th, but he also handles pressure very well. I think he has in the past failed out of clean pockets. He needs to improve in that area, but still a young, athletic quarterback that can make all of the throws. I think in better situations in Houston, which I don't necessarily think he got with DeAndre Hopkins moving on to Arizona, I think he's up there with the best, hands down. Still, from a talent perspective, Deshaun Watson, top 3, top 4 quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, I have a similar ranking to you. I mean, I'm going to have Mahomes number 1. I'm going to have a fairly large gap actually there into the next tier. And I don't know, Wilson, but then right behind him, Jackson and Watson. And it kind of depends on what day of the week, honestly, whether I'm going to say Jackson or Watson. I'm going to say Jackson slightly ahead of Watson because let's face it, he was the MVP. He has shown what he can do versatilely. He can take a next step passing, all of those different things. But then again, Deshaun Watson is one of those franchise type quarterbacks. And you look at this contract, the fact that he could get around $40 million a year and no one is even blinking an eye at the amount that he's getting really shows the respect and the level of play that people see him across the league.
See, I'd actually put Watson ahead of Russell Wilson with the age factor being so big there. Russell Wilson, realistically, you maybe have a decade with. I think you have 15 or so years possibly with Deshaun Watson. But I'm going to throw Joe Burrow and Trevor Lawrence ahead of Deshaun Watson at this point, with just what I've seen from them at the college level.
Throw Ryan Tannehill in there too. I mean,
those two. And then I would go Deshaun Watson at 4.
You want to get rid of me and get back to more great PFF YouTube content? All you have to do is push that button right there and subscribe. Thanks for watching.